Hey, my inky crafty friends, it's Haley Dyer, the Inky Scrapper, coming to you live on Friday, July 24th, 2026, instead of Thursday like usual. Yesterday was my husband's birthday, and he wanted to go out to dinner and go see a movie. We saw the Odyssey last night. It was pretty good. The first hour was slow, but I enjoyed it after that. Didn't expect to, but I did. Gonna just try to straighten up our view here. Oh, I made that worse. Wow. Let me try again. Sorry. That's the hazard of going live, and honestly, I don't have the greatest equipment, and I'm okay with that because, y'all, this is real. This is life. Life is busy. Life is messy. And I'm so happy to be able to be with you this evening, whether you're watching live or on replay. Please give me a little hello no matter what, so that I know if someone's here live or if you're watching on replay. So I'm going to start with some items from last week's live. I used the hot foil system and the butterfly flight hot foil dies to make 3 of these panels right here. This is the third one that I didn't use. So I did use 2, and I wanted to share them with you tonight before I moved on to tonight's project. So 2 of these made all of these cards. Oh, actually, before I show you the cards, I just wanted to show you a side-by-side comparison of the gold hot foil on basic white and on very vanilla. This is our milled cardstock, not the white daisy cardstock, or white willow cardstock. This is two-tone cardstock. Honestly, I can't tell a difference. Both of them have some over foiling. I'm going to work on how to avoid that. This was foiled the very first time, like from a cold machine that I heated from the start. This was probably the second or third foiling. So I've heard like cold foiling with a cooler foil will not do the over foiling, but that's not my experience so far. But I'm going to play around with it. This is still a new tool, a new system, and so I just wanted to show these side by side, the white and the very vanilla. I did make 3 of these very vanilla panels and used 2 of them to make cards. I do have this beautiful negative left over. It's a little bit fragile, and I do plan to use this on a project. I've got some ideas. I've also heard some rumors that we'll have some hot foil plates, so I'm just kind of holding off on that, but I wanted you to see how much is left and all the possibilities with that. Oosh. And now I will show you the cards that I made from the 2 hot foil butterfly panels. The first one, I used the masks, and I used Fleur de Flamingo, Hydrangea Hue, and Berry Burst. The masks are numbered. Mask number 1 are the little butterfly bodies. I don't need that with the hot foil system, with the butterfly flight hot foils, but I did use the other 3 masks with Fleur de Flamingo, Hydrangea Hue, and Berry Burst in that order. And then I put it on a Berry Burst panel and then added the little bit of ribbon. Originally, I thought I was going to use a bow. It was a little too busy. I thought this was a nice touch, so you can still see through a little bit of those beautiful hot foil dies. So that was card number 1. It used the whole panel. And for the rest of the cards, I die cut the second panel and used 3 of the die cuts on this card. This is the greetings. I think it's called Classic Greetings hot foil, the happy birthday and the die cuts. I did decide to use the same colors, Fleur de Flamingo, Hydrangea Hue, and Berry Burst, to blend the sentiment because it was a little bit plain on the very vanilla background. But I really like how that turned out. And then these sprigs are from the coordinating dies. I used Peaceful Pine light two-tone cardstock for that card. So that was card number 2 using the first of the second panel. This is card number 3. It's a little bit more elaborate as far as materials. I used my Fern and Flora 3D embossing folder. This is Peaceful Pine two-tone cardstock on the light side. This is the debossed side, so the raised side is down, and then I used the regular colored Peaceful Pine sprigs Thinking of You hot foil from that classic greeting, and just one of the little die cut butterflies. Didn't want to gild the lily too much. Oh, and that's a berry burst panel. So hi Lynn, thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. Don't even know what that is. We'll move that out of the way. Card, this is the final card from the panel of die cuts. Hi Joy. I used the largest butterfly, obviously. Thank you from those classic greetings. This is the bow that I thought I was going to use on the first card and didn't. And then the floral spray 3D embossing folder. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. And then the last card I made is actually using only the masks. And so mask number 1 are the butterfly bodies. So those are, I used a sponge dauber. I've got an old one right here, a little sponge dauber for those. And then I use my blending brushes, again, Flirty Flamingo, Hydrangea Hue, and Berry Burst in that order. So that card matches this first card with the foil. So I'm just going to show them side by side. I did use a different ribbon, but again, those were the masks. So I just wanted to show those again. And now, next up, thanks Julia, it's nice to see you live. This evening was one of my sip and stamp nights where we come and make 3 cards from a kit, have a little fun. And I decided to use the Pretty Party kit. I did cut these in half. The backs are so beautiful. I'm going to use them for something else. So these are only card fronts. I haven't mounted them yet, but this is card number 1 from the kit. You stamp birthday and wishes on the banners with Cajun Craze is the color included. This will go on a standard cardstock card base, and I'm going to make 6 more cards with the backside pieces. I just didn't get to that yet tonight. This is Time to Celebrate, the second card, and the third card is a congratulations. So I have 2 of these kits still available for a future sip and stamp. Like I said, I will be making alternatives with the back of these, and I'll show them sometime in the future. So now we'll move on to tonight's actual project. I've got some pieces right here. Excuse the dirty mat, but that's what I kind of needed. These are scraps. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but when I cut these, it was from a larger piece. These were the scraps that were left over. We may use them, we may not, but I have 2 white willow 2 3/4 inch squares. Both of them are 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. They're square. This is a 4 by 5 1/4 white cardstock panel. I think I'm gonna have to trim off a corner edge, but we'll see. This was part of some of the pieces that I just try to keep handy. This is 3 by 6 garden green 2-tone cardstock, light side, dark side. Not sure which side we'll use up, but that's what this piece is. This is a 6 by 5 1/4 piece of Valley in Bloom DSP. I'm so excited to play with this one tonight. It's got this beautiful pool party kind of freeform plaid on the back, but we're going to use kind of the Lily of the Valley little bouquet side up. And then last is a piece of 5.5 by 11 cardstock. So this piece, you won't get 2 cards from 1 piece of cardstock. This is a little bit more, it's more than 4 1/4, but we're gonna do some fun folds, some scoring, and so you need a longer piece. If you had 12 by 12 cardstock and you wanted to cut it down, that might be, you know, it might be a little more economical. I'm not really sure. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to grab my stamp trimmer, or my paper trimmer. Sorry, we're not trimming stamps, we're trimming paper. Y'all, it's Friday night, I'm tired. I do need to look at my directions really quickly. So we're gonna score this, so make sure you're using your scoring blade, not your cutting blade. And I am going to need to go ahead and open up this arm. So let me go ahead and do that. We're going to score, and I'm not gonna worry about mountains and valleys right now on my scores. I'm just gonna score at 4 inches. And I'll have instructions, 5 3/4 inches. So don't worry about all of these, but I'm gonna go through them. 7.5 inches. And if I was really good, I would have this ready to like copy and paste in the comments, but I don't. And last is 9.25. Alrighty, so I'm gonna repeat those. 4 inches, 5 3/4 inches, 7.5 inches, and 9.25 inches. And so now, of course, my bone folder's not handy, but we're gonna go ahead and score, or not score, but fold these. So I'll just start with the first one the way it's supposed to be, as a mountain fold, and then score this one as a valley, as a mountain, and as a valley. And I'm gonna just take one of my blocks and help burnish this. And I'm actually gonna do each one. So I'm gonna open this one up, give it a smush. Actually, let me try this way. Give this a smush, because I want it to be, you know, pretty crisp folds so that it folds nicely. So again, if you don't have a bone folder or it's not handy, try one of your Stampin' Blocks. Okay, so this is our accordion fun fold card. It's gonna go like this. Each of these panels, sorry, I'm on the metric side for this paper, so let me flip it over. I think I know what they measure, but I don't wanna tell you a lie. Yeah, each of these panels measures 1 3/4 by 5.5. So I did a little mathing ahead of time and figured out what 4 1.5. Uh-oh, that's supposed to be 5. Let me double check mine. Yeah, so I cut this at 5 1/4 by accident. It should have been 5.5. So I'm just gonna trim this piece down. That's fine. So that should be 5.5. The directions I share will be correct with what this should be. I was like, why is this the same size? No big deal. Here is an opportunity to fix a mistake. So I'm just gonna cut 1/4 inch off. This is 5 1/4. So I'm gonna cut it down to 5 inches. And that'll make this work. And who knows, we might use this little piece. Probably not. But each one of these needs to measure 1.5. That's probably the edge of my trimmer right here, but since I'm not sure, I'm going to start from the left, and I'm going to cut 1.5 and slice it and set it to the side. 1.5 and slice it and set it beside it, because these are going to go side by side, so I want the pattern in order. And this one. Okay. So let's go ahead and add these panels, hopefully quickly. Again, I am keeping them in order. I'm going to keep them with the Lily of the Valley side up. You could alternate them if you like. Do what makes you happy. So let's see about centering this one. There we go. So there's one. Here's 2. Oops. And 3. And finally 4. Didn't use quite as much adhesive, but that's fine. All right, let me just check for comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, I'm not, so I will continue. So this panel I made I definitely made too big. So I'm going to trim it down. 5 1/4 should have been correct, but again, I'm cut that a little bit too short, so we're going to cut it down to 5 inches. So the actual directions that I will be 5 1/4. But for this card in particular, I need 5 inches by 3 3/4. Okay, and so that is going to fit, sorry, that's loud, right here, just like that. So let's go ahead and do a little stamping with that. Let me I grabbed my Cute as my Sweet Bugs stamp set, part of the Cute as a Bug Suite, because it has what I think looks a lot like a Lily of the Valley. So I'm going to, shop my swatch, and I'm going to grab that one. Let's see. I'll fit on a 2-inch block. I just need to be a little bit crooked, and I think I'm going to stamp that with Garden Green, the darker green. I'm just doing a few taps. Oops. Bring that over here and put this one right about here. And I want to add, I'm going to use that, let me grab one of these 3x3. I went ahead and pre-stamped one of them, so let me grab the other one, and I want to stamp this stamp while it's out in inky on this front one. Okay. That's probably the only ones I'm going to do of that, so I'm going to close this up carefully. So again, that's Garden Green. I'll set it off to the side. I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to move this out of the way so that I don't end up getting something on there that I shouldn't. And I want to add a few of these little clusters. I think I'll do 2 of them. What do you think? I think so. All right. Actually, while I have this, both of these, I want to do a little treatment with the blending brush to make a little bit of grass. So I'm just using a Post-it note as my mask. I've got a blending brush and a little bit of this Granny Apple Green. So now we've got that little grassy bit, and I've got a little bit of copy paper because obviously that's not big enough. So I'm going to lay this across here, hold it carefully, and that up a little bit. Notice I'm starting off my project and then blending across and trying to get the corners a little bit more. So there we go with that. I'm going to leave the little flower white on all of those, but on the, what I'm calling little Lily of the Valley, that might be coral bells, I don't know, but I'm going to use some Wink of Stella on these, just to make them sparkle, make them pop off the page a little bit, or the card a little bit. These little daisy type flowers, I'm just going to leave white. I don't have a Garden Green Stampin' Blend, but I do have a retired Stampin' Write marker. So let me grab the brush tip end to give this a little bit of color. These don't blend very well, but I kind of like the stripy look for leaves, so that doesn't bother me. There we go. So this one I think might be done, except it might need a sentiment. I'm thinking about putting this little guy on the inside. You'll see, because we haven't used this panel yet. So I'm going to try to color it quickly. Again, I'm going to do some Garden Green with the leaves. These don't color as well as the Stampin' Blends, no doubt. It's okay though. Still going to get some cool effects. Make this one darker. Kind of fill in just a little. Right. So there's that. I think we'll give this little guy, this little leaf right here, a little color. And now I'm going to color this caterpillar. This is light peach pie. It's going around the outside edge. Going down the middle. Okay. And little arms. And now I'm going to kind of highlight the stripes a little bit. Little arms, legs, I guess, I don't know. And I have a Cajun Craze silver white marker to give it a little more depth. Not a lot. Just little spots and maybe a little cheek. Maybe a little lippy. Okay. I also want to stamp that cute little bee. I'm going to check for comments. Okay, we're good. So let's see. I'll use this block. It's plenty big. In basic gray. I didn't want to use black. I just felt it was a little bit too harsh for this card. And I'll stamp the little bee up here. And I'm going to use the light lemon lolly to give it a quick little color for the face. And then, actually I think I'll use dark daffodil delight for the stripes. And the lighter daffodil delight, yeah, for the little neck piece. And of course, some Wink of Stella for its wings, because they've got to be shimmering. Okay, we're almost ready to put this together, and we need to decide on a sentiment, but again, we'll put all the pieces together. So if I were that, oh, there we go. It's like, if I were that other piece, where would I be? And here we are. Okay, so this one is going to go as a card right here. We can do the dark side up or the lighter side up. I think I like the dark side better, so that's what we're going to go with. This is a 3x6 piece, so I'm going to score it in half, which is at 3 inches. Voila. And voila. And that means, ooh, my trimmer fell. Let me get this out of the way so that I don't run it over with my chair. So this is how the card's going to go together. We're going to glue this piece right here. It's probably ready to go, but I'm going to hold off on gluing it. And these will accordion fold closed. And this panel is going to go right here, like so, with probably this on the front. That's what I was thinking. And this little guy on the inside. But we could put this one on the front instead. I actually kind of like that one. I don't know, what do y'all think? Because I like the 1, 2, 3. Even though originally I thought I was going to do this one. This one will go right here. Is that too much Lily? That may be too much Lily of the Valley, and maybe I am better off to put this one here. I think we'll do that. We'll go with the original plan. So let me grab my Stampin' Seal. You'll notice how the stamp and blends will bleed through your white or light colored paper. So I always want to mount them onto something else. This is a nice little square, so that's easy to do. Same with this one. Actually, before I do these, let's give them a little bit of dimension. I grabbed my Pool Party ink spot and a blending pen. Hello, that is not a pen. That is a blending brush. So that we can just bring in just a little bit of color. Should have done that on this one. So since it's on a darker base, I think it'll be fine to add a little color. It's very subtle, but it's just not stark white anymore. You can see it a little bit more on this one. Yeah, let me do a little more on this one. Okay, and a little bit on here. Pool Party's really light, but it just gives it a little something. If I didn't do this, the card would be fine, but it's a little extra something. Oh yeah, caterpillar. Okay, well, so y'all, caterpillar on the front. Actually, sorry, I already glued this one down, but we'll see how it comes together. And again, what I like may not be what you like, and that's okay. I want you to like what you make. Because I do think I want to do a sentiment on that front piece. All right, so there we go with that one. And so I'm going to go ahead and add this to the front. Let's get this in the right spot. There we go. So again, it's going to close like this. And let's see. We have Hello Friend. Let's see. Might fit on here. Maybe I should just stamp it directly on that piece. Well, let's see. I think I will put the Hello Friend right there. Maybe, and I think this is too much to try to put it on there as a banner. So I'll move my little bee and pick up Hello Friend and do this in gray. Just like this. And I'm going to let that sit for a minute so that the color really absorbs in. And now I'm going to use some liquid glue so that if it's not quite perfect when I place it, it's got a little wiggle room. So I'm putting liquid glue on the edges of this little mini card. Let me go ahead and kind of close this up. This is the hard part. It's okay if I slide this a little bit towards the inside. Just like that because of the way I did the glue. I'm going to hold that for a moment, press it down, and now we have our accordion fun fold card that opens like that. I think I need one of these little flowers on here, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to stamp that. So I'm going to open this up all the way and add one of those. Oh, this is kind of crazy, but here we go. Because of the bumps and everything underneath it, I'm giving it a really good press. And another little one right there. Oh, carefully. Oh, I like that a lot, and I hope that you do too. Sorry that I asked for your opinion and then didn't even look to see what you said about it. Of course, my message is going to go right there and be covered up by this, and I will be sharing directions for this accordion fun fold card. Thanks so much for joining me this evening on a Friday instead of a Thursday. I'm glad that worked out. I will be having my August Crafternoon class on August 16th and the next Sip and Stamp on, I believe it's August 28th. But I plan to be live again next Thursday. So if you have any special requests, feel free to reach out and let me know. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you create with this accordion fun fold card. And I will see you again soon. I hope that you get inky, y'all. Take care. See you later. Bye.